Welcome. This technique gives you additional information on the technique of crocheting. Crochet is a process of creating fabric from yarn, thread, or other material strands using a crochet hook. The word is derived from the French word crochet, meaning hook. Hooks can be made of material such as metals, woods, or plastic and are commercially manufactured as well as produced by artisans. Crocheting, like knitting, consists of pulling loops through other loops but additionally incorporates wrapping the working material around the hook one or more times. Crochet differs from knitting in that only one stitch is active at one time. Stitches made with the same diameter of yarn are comparably taller and a single crochet hook is used instead of two knitting needles. Additionally, crochet has its own system of symbols to represent stitch types. Liz Paludan theorizes that crochet evolved from traditional practices in Arabia, South America, or China, but there is no decisive evidence of the craft being performed before its popularity in Europe during the 19th century. The earliest written reference to crochet refers to shepherd's knitting from the Memoirs of a Highland Lady by Elizabeth Grant in the 19th century. The first published crochet patterns appeared in the Dutch magazine Penelope in 1824. Other indicators that crochet was new in the 19th century include the 1847 publication A Winter's Gift, which provides detailed instructions for the performing crochet stitches, although it presumes that readers understand the basics of other needle crafts. Early references to the craft in Godey's Lady's Book in 1846 and 1847 refer to crochet before the spelling standardized in 1848. Donna Kohler proposes that early industrialization is key to the development of crochet. Machine-spun cotton thread became widely available and inexpensive in Europe and North America after the invention of the cotton gin and spinning jenny, displacing hand-spun linen for many uses. Crochet technique consumes more thread than comparable textile production methods, and cotton is well suited to crochet. Knitted and knotted textiles survive from very early periods, but there are no surviving samples of crocheted fabric in any ethnological collection or archaeological source prior to 1800. These writers point to the tambour hooks used in tambour embroidery in France in the 18th century and contend that the hooking of loops through fine fabric in tambour work evolved into crochet in the air. Most samples of early work claimed to be crochet turn out to be actually samples of nalle binding. Donna Kohler identifies a possible problem with the tambour hypothesis. period tambour hooks that survive in modern collections cannot produce crochet because the integral wing nut necessary for tambour work interferes with attempts at crochet. However, Mrs. Gaga, in her 1840 The Lady's Assistant for executing useful and fancy designs in knitting, netting, and crochet works, refers to tambour or crochet, then proceeds to call it tambour in all the instructions, indicating a strong connection believed to be at the time of crochet's beginning, and that it was perhaps the older name. Those hooks that survive cannot be used is the constant problem in archaeology. What was commonly used may have been usually worn out and didn't survive. Tambour lace on fine net is commonly taught with the crochet hook. These hooks with integral wing nuts being an expensive item. Early crochet hooks ranged from primitive bent needles in a cork handle used by poor Irish lace workers to expensively crafted silver, brass, steel, ivory, and bone hooks set into a variety of handles, some of which were better designed to show off a lady's hand than they were to work with thread. By the early 1840s, instructions for crochet were being published in England, particularly by Eleanor Rigaud de la Blancharddière and Frances Lambert. These early patterns called for cotton and linen thread for lace and wool yarn for clothing, often in vivid color combinations. In the 19th century, as Ireland was facing the Great Irish Famine, crochet lace work was introduced as a form of famine relief. Mademoiselle Rigaud de la Blancharddière is generally credited with the invention of Irish crochet, publishing the first book of patterns in 1846. Irish lace became popular in Europe and America and was made in quantity until the First World War. Fashions in crochet changed with the end of Victorian era in the 1890s. Crocheted laces in the new Edwardian era, peaking between 1910 and 1920, became even more elaborate in texture and complicated stitching. The strong Victorian colors disappeared, though, and new publications called for white or pale colored threads, except for fancy purses, which were often crocheted with brightly colored silk and elaborately beaded. After World War I, fewer crochet patterns were published, and most of them were simplified versions of the early 20th century patterns. After World War II, from the late 40s until the early 60s, there was a resurgence in interest in home crafts, particularly in the United States, with many new and imaginative crochet designs published for useful dollies, pot holders, and other home items, along with updates of earlier publications. These patterns called for thicker threads and yarns than in earlier patterns and included wonderful variegated colors. The craft remained primarily a homemaker's art until the 1960s and early 1970s when the new generation picked up on crochet and popularized granny squares, a motif worked in the round and incorporating bright colors. Although crochet underwent a subsequent decline in popularity, the early 21st century has seen a revival of interest in handicrafts and DIY as well as great strides in improvement of the quality and varieties of yarn. There are many more new pattern books with modern patterns being printed, and most yarn stores now offer crochet lessons in addition to the traditional knitting lessons. There are many books you can purchase from local bookstores to teach yourself how to crochet, whether it be as a beginner or more intermediate. There are also many books for children and teenagers who are hoping to take up the hobby. One of the books available for teens is The Cool Girl's Guide to Crochet by Nikki Trench. Filet crochet, Tunisian crochet, tapestry crochet, broomstick lace, hairpin lace, crow hooking, and Irish crochet are all variants of the basic crochet method. Crochet has experienced a revival on the catwalk. Christopher Kane's Fall 2011 ready to wear collection makes intensive use of the granny square, one of the most basic of crochet motifs. Crochet has been utilized many a time by designers on the popular reality show Project Runway. Additionally, websites such as Etsy and Ravelry have made it easier for individual hobbyists to sell and distribute their patterns or projects across the internet. Proper tools are necessary in crocheting. Basic materials required for crochet are a hook and some type of material that will be crocheted, most commonly yarns or threads. Additional tools are convenient for keeping stitches counted, measuring crocheted fabric, or making related accessories. Examples include cardboard cutouts, which can be used to make tassels, fringe, and many other items, a pom-pom circle used to make pom-poms, a tape measure, and a gauze measure, both used for measuring crocheted work and counting stitches, a row counter, and occasionally plastic rings which are used for special projects. The crochet hook comes in many sizes and materials such as bone, bamboo, aluminium, plastic, and steel. Sizing is categorized by the diameter of the hook's shaft, and a crafter aims to create stitches of a certain size in order to reach a particular gauge specified in a given pattern. If gauge is not reached with one hook, another is used until the stitches made are the needed size. Crafters may have a preference for one type of hook material over another due to aesthetic appeal, yarn glide, or hand disorders such as arthritis, where bamboo or wooden hooks are favored over metal for the perceived warmth and flexibility during use. Hook grips and ergonomic hook handles are also available to assist crafters. Steel crochet hooks range in size from 0.4 to 3.5 millimeters or from 00 to 16 in American sizing. These hooks are used for fine crochet work such as dollies and lace. Aluminium, bamboo, and plastic crochet hooks are available from 2.5 to 19 millimeters in size or from B to S in American sizing. Artisan made hooks are often made of hand turned woods, sometimes decorated with semi precious stones or beads. Crochet hooks used for Tunisian crochet are elongated and have a stopper at the end of the handle, while double-ended crochet hooks have a hook on both ends of the handle. There is also a double-hooked apparatus called a crow hook that has become popular. A hairpin loom is always used to create lacy and long stitches known as hairpin lace. While this is not in itself a hook, it is a device used in conjunction with a crochet hook to produce stitches. The patent pending sharp crochet hook is used to crochet edgings through fabric because the sharp pointed head glides through fabric easier than normal crochet hooks. It can be used to crochet edgings on baby blankets, skirt hems, gloves, socks, pillowcases, and towels. For measuring, you will need a ruler, either 6 or 12 inches, a measuring tape, or a metal measuring gauge. Keep a small pair of scissors or shears handy for cutting yarns, trimming pom-poms, etc. Be sure to keep scissors in a case for safety reasons. A blunt pointed tapestry needle is used for sewing seams. A straight steel needle is best. Some tapestry needle have a hump around the eye. They are not good for joining seams in crocheting as the hump catches on stitches and makes it hard to pull the yarn through. Gauge and yarn. Gauge is the number of stitches and spaces per inch and the number of rows or rounds per inch. In many patterns, gauge is specified over 4 inches. Your gauge is the gauge specified in the pattern must be the same so that your project will be the correct size. This is especially crucial for projects that must fit. Before starting your project, take the time to make a gauge swatch. To check gauge, use the same yarn, hook, and pattern stitch specified in the instructions. Make a swatch that is approximately 6 inches square. Work in pattern for about 6 inches, then bind off. Let the swatch relax for a bit, then flatten it without stretching to measure. Using pins, mark off a section of stitches in the center of the swatch that measures 4 inches square. Count the number of stitches and rows in this 4-inch section. If they match the gauge, you can start right in on your pattern. If you have too few stitches, you are working too loosely. Change to smaller hook and make another swatch. If you have too many stitches, you are working too tightly. Change to larger hook. Keep making swatches and experimenting with hook sizes until you obtain the specified gauge. Everyone crochets differently. This will help you to make a project that fits. Each skein of yarn has the yarn size and suggested hook on the label. You will want to keep the label for your reference. Finer threads are also used for crocheting. Crochet threads are generally used for dollies, tablecloths, table toppers, or as an edge in an project. The most commonly used thread is a number 10 size thread. The larger the thread number, the finer the thread. So 20 is finer than 10 and 30 is finer than 20. You will want to use a thread hook for this type of crocheting. A zero hook works well with a size 10 thread. The spun fibers are generally divided into animal fibers, plant and synthetic fibers. These fiber types are chemically different corresponding to the proteins, carbohydrates and synthetic polymers respectively. Animal fibers include silk but generally are long hairs of animals such as sheep, goat, rabbit, llama, alpaca, dog, cat, camel, yak, and musk ox. Fibers from plants include cotton, flax, bamboo, ramie, hemp, jute, nettle, raffia, yucca, coconut husk, banana stem, soy, and corn. Rayon and acetate fibers are also produced from cellulose, mainly derived from trees. Common synthetic fibers include acrylics, polyesters such as Dacron, Ingeo, nylon, and other polyamides, and olefins such as polypropylene. Of these types, wool is generally favored for crochet, chiefly owing to its superior elasticity, warmth, and sometimes felting properties. However, wool is generally less convenient to clean and some people are allergic to it. It is also common to blend different fibers in the yarn. Example, 85% alpaca and 15% silk. Even within a type of fiber, there can be a great variety in the length and thickness of fibers. For example, merino wool and Egyptian cotton are favored because they produce exceptionally long, thin fibers for their type. Yarns are available in a variety of weights and fiber contents. For best results, use the yarn specified in the instructions. Be sure to purchase all the yarn you need for a project at the same time because dye lots may vary a little in shading and this will show on the final finished project. If you are combining different types of yarns in the same project, make sure they have similar washing instructions. Care instructions are found on the product label. Follow them carefully. Always make sure to make a swatch to measure the gauge. Yarn for crochet is usually sold as balls or skeins, although it may also be wound on spools or cones. Skeins and balls are generally sold with a yarn band, a label that describes the yarn's weight, length, dye lot, fiber content, washing instructions, suggested needle size, and likely gauge. It is a common practice to save the yarn band for future reference, especially if additional skeins must be purchased. Crocheters generally ensure that the yarn for a project comes from a single dye lot. The dye lot specifies a group of skeins that were dyed together and thus have precisely the same color. Skeins from different dye lots, even if very similar in color, are usually slightly different and may produce a visible stripe when added onto existing work. If insufficient yarn of a single dye lot is bought to complete a project, additional skeins of the same dye lot can be sometimes obtained from other yarn stores or online stores. The thickness or weight of the yarn is a significant factor in determining the gauge, that is, how many stitches and rows are required to cover a given area for a given stitch pattern. Thicker yarns generally require large diameter crochet hooks, whereas thinner yarns may be crocheted with thick or thin hooks. Hence, thicker yarns generally require fewer stitches and therefore less time to work up a given project. Patterns and motifs are coarser with thicker yarns and produce bold visual effects, whereas thinner yarns are best for refined or delicate pattern work. Yarns are standardly grouped by thickness into 6 categories: superfine, fine, light, medium, bulky, and super bulky. Quantitatively, thickness is measured by the number of wraps per inch WPI. The related weight per unit length is usually measured in tex or denier. Before use, hanks are wound into balls in which the yarn emerges from the center, making crocheting easier by preventing the yarns from becoming tangled. The winding process may be done by hand or with a ball winder and swift. A yarn's usefulness is judged by several factors such as its loft, its resilience, its washability and color fastness, its hand feel, its durability against abrasion, its resistance to pilling, its hairiness, its tendency to twist or untwist, its overall weight and drape, its blocking and felting qualities, its comfort, and its appearance, which includes its color, sheen, smoothness, and ornamental features. Other factors include allergic properties, speed of drying, resistance to chemicals, moths and mildew, melting point and flammability, retention of static electricity, and the propensity to accept dyes. Desirable properties may vary for different projects, so there is no one best yarn. Although crochet may be done with ribbons, metal wire, or more exotic filaments, most yarns are made by spinning fibers. In spinning, the fibers are twisted so that the yarns resist breaking under tension. The twisting may be done in either direction, resulting in a Z-twist or S-twist yarn. If the fibers are first aligned by combing them and then the spinner uses a worsted type drafting method such as the short forward draw, the yarn is smoother and is called a worsted yarn. By contrast, if the fibers are carded but not combed and the spinner uses a woolen drafting method such as the long backward draw, the yarn is fuzzier and is called woolen spun yarn. The fibers making up a yarn may be continuous filament fibers such as silk and many synthetic fibers such as polyester and nylon, or they may be staple fibers of an average few inch length. Natural filament fibers are sometimes cut up into staple length before spinning. In general, yarns become stronger with more twist. For example, thinner yarns require more twist than thicker yarns do to resist breaking under tension. The thickness of the yarn may vary along its length. A slub is a much thicker section in which a mass of fibers is incorporated into the yarn. A single spun yarn may be crocheted as is, or braided, or plied with another. In plying, two or more yarns are spun together, almost always in the opposite sense from which they were spun individually. For example, two Z-twist yarns are usually plied with an S-twist. The opposing twists relieves some of the yarn's tendency to curl up and produce a thicker balanced yarn. Plied yarns may themselves be plied together, producing cabled yarns or multi-stranded yarns. Sometimes the yarns being plied are fed at different rates so that one yarn loops around the other as in boucle. The single yarn may be dyed separately before plying or afterwards to give the yarn a uniform look. The dyeing of yarns is a complex art. Yarns need not be dyed, or they may be dyed in one color or a great variety of colors. Dyeing may be done industrially or by hand or even hand painted onto the yarns. A great variety of synthetic dyes have been developed since the synthesis of indigo dye in the mid-19th century. However, natural dyes are also possible, although they are generally less brilliant. The color scheme of a yarn is sometimes called its colorway. Variegated yarns can produce interesting visual effects such as diagonal stripes. Crocheted fabric is begun by placing a slip knot loop on the hook, though other methods such as a magic ring or simple folding over of the yarn may be used, pulling another loop through the first loop and repeating this process to create a chain of a suitable length. The chain is either turned and worked in rows or joined to the beginning of the row with a slip stitch and worked in rounds. Rounds can also be created by working many stitches into a single loop. Stitches are made by pulling one or more loops through each loop of the chain. At any one time, at the end of a stitch, there is only one loop left on the hook. Tunisian crochet, however, draws all of the loops of an entire row onto a long hook before working them off one at a time. Like knitting, crochet can be worked either flat or in the round. In the English-speaking crochet world, basic stitches have different names that vary by country. The differences are usually referred to as UK-US or British-American. To help counter confusion when reading patterns, a diagrammatic system using a standard international notation has come into use. Another terminological difference is known as tension in UK and gauge in US. Individual crocheters work yarn with a loose or tight hold, and if unmeasured, these differences can lead to significant size changes in finished garments that have the same number of stitches. In order to control this inconsistency, printed crochet instructions include a standard for the number of stitches across a standard swatch of a fabric. An individual crocheter begins work by producing a test swatch and compensating for any discrepancy by changing to a smaller or larger hook. North Americans call this gauge, referring to the end result of these adjustments. British crocheters speak of tension, which refers to the crafter's grip on the yarn while producing stitches. One of the more obvious differences is that crochet uses one hook while knitting uses two needles. In most crochet, the artisan usually has only one live stitch on the hook, with the exception being Tunisian crochet, while a knitter keeps an entire row of stitches active simultaneously. Dropped stitches, which can unravel a fabric, rarely interfere with crochet work due to a second structural difference between knitting and crochet. In knitting, each stitch is supported by the corresponding stitch in the row above, and it supports the corresponding stitch in the row below, whereas crochet stitches are only supported by and support the stitches on either side of it. If a stitch in a finished crocheted item breaks, the stitches above and below remains intact, and because of the complex looping of each stitch, The stitches on either sides are unlikely to come loose unless heavily stressed. Round or cylindrical patterns are simple to produce with a regular crochet hook, but cylindrical knitting requires either a set of circular needles or 3 to 5 special double-ended needles. Many crocheted items are composed of individual motifs which are then joined together either by sewing or crocheting, whereas knitting is usually composed of one fabric such as entrelac. Freeform crochet is a technique that can create interesting shapes in 3 dimensions because new stitches can be made independently of previous stitches almost anywhere in the crocheted piece. It is generally accomplished by building shapes or structural elements onto existing crochet fabric at any place the crafter desires. Knitting can be accomplished by machine, while crochet stitches can only be crafted by hand. The height of knitted and crocheted stitches is also different. A single crochet stitch is twice the height of a knit stitch in the same yarn size and comparable diameter tools, and a double crochet stitch is about 4 times the height of a knit stitch. While most crochet is made with a hook, there is also a method of crocheting with a knitting loom. This is called loom crochet. Slip stitch crochet is very similar to knitting. Each stitch in slip stitch crochet is formed the same way as a knit or purl stitch, which is then bound off. A person working in slip stitch crochet can follow a knitted pattern with knits, purls and cables and get a similar result. It is a common perception that crochet produces a thicker fabric than knitting, which tends to have less give than knitted fabric and uses approximately a third more yarn for a comparable project than knitted items. Though this is true when comparing a single crochet swatch with a stockinette swatch, both made with the same size yarn and needle hook, it is not necessarily true for crochet in general. Most crochet uses far less than 1/3 more yarn than knitting for comparable pieces, and a crocheter can get similar feel and drape to knitting by using a larger hook or thinner yarn. Tunisian crochet and slip stitch crochet can, in some cases, use less yarn than knitting for comparable pieces. According to sources claiming to have tested the 1/3 more yarn assertion, a single crochet stitch uses approximately the same amount of yarn as a knit stitch. All crochet stitches which require a yarn over to complete the stitch operation will use slightly more yarn. Cluster stitches, which are in fact multiple stitches worked together, will use the most amount of yarn. Most crochet uses one hook and works upon one stitch at a time. Crochet may be worked in circular rounds without any specialized tools, as shown here. Knitting uses two or more straight needles that carry multiple stitches. Unlike crochet, knitting requires specialized needles to create circular rounds. It has been very common for people and groups to crochet clothing and other garments and then donate them to soldiers during war. People have also crocheted clothing and then donated it to hospital for sick patients and also for newborn babies. Sometimes groups will crochet for a specific charity purpose, such as crocheting for homeless shelters, nursing homes, etc. It is also becoming increasingly popular to crochet hats and donate them to cancer treatment centers for those undergoing chemotherapy, which is also referred to as chemo caps. Crochet patterns have an underlying mathematical structure. The pattern created by the regular presence or omission of stitches is the very essence of this art form. The similarities to base 2 math with its series of zeros and ones are obvious. That is to say, a present stitch is like a 1 and a missing stitch is like a 0. The craft has been used to illustrate shapes in hyperbolic space that are difficult to reproduce using other media or are difficult to understand when viewed two-dimensionally. A hyperbolic model of a coral reef has also been constructed for environmental purposes. A paper model based on the pseudosphere created by William Thurston, however, is quite delicate. Crochet has been used by mathematician Dinah Thymina in order to create a version of the hyperbolic plane. Dinah Thymina used the art of crochet to create a strong, durable model which received an exhibition by the Institute for Figuring. In style in the technical arts, Gottfried Semper looks at textile with great promise and historical precedent. In section 53, he writes of the loop stitch or nude collant, a knot that, if untied, causes the whole system to unravel. In the same section, Semper confesses his ignorance of the subject of crochet but believes strongly that it is a technique of great value as a textile technique and possibly something more. There are a small number of architects currently interested in the subject of crochet as it relates to architecture. In the past few years, a practice called yarn bombing or the use of knitted or crocheted cloth to modify and beautify one's surroundings emerged in the US and spread worldwide. Yarn bombers sometimes target existing pieces of graffiti for beautification. Some yarns come in hanks, some are pre-wound, and others are pulled from the center. Rolling a ball that pulls from the center is a good skill to have. If you are rolling a ball from a hank of yarn, carefully untie the hank, keeping it in the large loop. Have someone hold it for you or drape the loop over the back of a chair or over your knees. Hold the loose end of yarn firmly with your thumb. Roll the yarn around 3 fingers loosely 10 to 12 times. Slip the yarn off your fingers and hold it firmly in the center with the free end of the yarn hanging loose. Now, very loosely wrap the yarn around the part you rolled onto your fingers about 10 to 12 times. If you pull the yarn too tightly, it will not pull free from the center of the ball when you are ready to knit or crochet, and it may also take some of the stretch out of the yarn. Be sure not to catch the free end while wrapping the yarn. Now that you have found the base for your ball, hold your thumb on the spot where the free end of the yarn is coming out and your fingers are on the opposite side. Hold the free end of the yarn in the palm of your hand with your little finger. Now, gently wind yarn from the bottom towards you across top of ball, keeping the yarn close to your thumb. Keep turning the ball slowly counterclockwise. Be very careful to keep your thumb in the hole you form as you wind and keep the free end of the yarn free. When the yarn is all wound, tuck the end under several loops of yarn. When you are ready to crochet, the free end you hold in the palm of your hand will pull out easily and the ball will not roll away. There are no set rules about the best way to hold the hook and yarn. Choose whichever way you find the most comfortable. Some people prefer the pencil grip. The hook is held in the right hand as if holding a pencil. Some people prefer using the knife grip. The hook is held in the right hand as if holding a dinner knife ready to cut. To maintain a slight tension in the yarn is necessary for easy, even stitches. You may find it helpful to wrap the yarn around the fingers of the hand opposite the one holding the hook. Try one of these ways or find another way that feels comfortable to you. As shown, the left hand holds your crochet work and at the same time controls the tension of the yarn. The left hand middle finger is used to manipulate the yarn while the index finger and thumb holds on to the work. Some people find it more comfortable to manipulate the yarn with the index finger and hold the project with their thumb and middle finger. While you are learning, if one ways feel awkward, try another way until you find the one that suits you. Holding the yarn and hook. Step 1. Pencil position. Knife position. How to crochet in rows. How to Crochet in rows. Step 1. The first row is made by working across the foundation chain from left to right. At the end of the chain or row, turn the work so that the yarn is behind the hook. Step 2. First make the turning chain for the stitch you are about to work. Now, work the next stitch into the top of the stitches on your first row, missing the first stitch. Foundation chain, yarn over. Foundation chain, yarn over. Step 1. Wrap the yarn from back to front over the hook or hold the yarn still and maneuver the hook. This movement of the yarn over the hook is used over and over again in crochet and is usually called yarn over, abbreviated as YO. When working into the starting chain, you may work under one or two chain loops as shown in the illustration. Either of these methods forms an even firm bottom edge. Some people like to work into the bump on the back of the chain. This forms an even, stretchy bottom edge that is ideal for garments. Whichever method of working into the foundation you choose, be consistent. Work all the pieces of a project in the same manner. Slip stitch. Step 1. Insert the hook into the work shown in the second chain from the hook in the illustration. Step 2 and 3. Yarn over and pull the yarn through both the work and the loop on the hook in one movement. Step 4 and 5. To join a chain ring with a slip stitch, insert the hook into first chain, yarn over and pull the yarn through the work and the loop on the hook. Single crochet. Step 1. Insert the hook into the work, second chain from hook on the starting chain, yarn over and draw yarn through the work only. Step 2. Yarn over again and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook. 1 single crochet made. Insert hook into next stitch. Repeat from step 1, yarn over and draw yarn through the work only. Half double crochet. Step 1. Yarn over and insert the hook into the work, third chain from hook on the starting chain. Step 2. Yarn over and draw through the work only. Step 3. Yarn over again and pull yarn through all 3 loops on the hook. Step 4. 1 half double crochet made. Step 5. yarn over, insert hook into next stitch. Repeat from step 1. Turning chains. Step 1. Single crochet equals to 1 chain. Step 2. Half double crochet equals to 2 chains. Step 3. Double crochet equals to 3 chains. Step 4. Treble crochet equals to 4 chains. When working half double crochet or other taller stitches, the turning chain usually serves as the first stitch. The project instructions will let you know whether or not the turning chain is considered a stitch. When one chain is worked at the beginning of a row, starting with a single crochet stitch, it is usually for height only and is made in addition to the first stitch. Joining in new yarn. Step 1. Yarn over with the new color of yarn and pull the new color of yarn through to complete the stitch. Step 2. Continue to work the following stitches in the new yarn color following the pattern instructions. Step 3 and 4. If you are working whole rows in different colors, make the change during the last stitch in the previous row so the new color for the next row is ready to work the turning chain. If you are working a narrow stripe pattern, instead of cutting off the old color of yarn, carry it loosely along the side of the fabric so that it is ready to pick up again the next time it is needed. For wide stripe patterns, it is usually best to cut off the old color of yarn, leaving a 6-inch end for weaving in. Longer carries is also called floats are easily snagged. Weave in ends. Weave in ends securely before blocking pieces or sewing seams. Securely woven ends will not come loose with wear or washing. There are several methods for weaving in ends. Use whichever one works best for you. Step 1. Thread yarn end through a blunt tapestry needle. Whip stitch the end around several stitches. Trim the end close to work. Step 2. The woven end should be nearly visible. Step 3. Another method of weaving in ends is to run the end under several stitches, wrap it around a stitch and then run it under several more stitches. For even more security, reverse the direction and weave back under and over a few more stitches. Trim the end close to work. Seams. Various methods can be used to join pieces of crochet, and again the use of the finished item often dictates the assembly method. Sewn seams can be invisible or decorative. Step 1. To join with an invisible sewn seam, place pieces edge to edge with the wrong sides facing up and whip stitch together. Step 2. To join invisibly using a crochet hook, place right sides of the pieces together and slip stitch through one loop of each piece as illustrated. Picot. To make a picot, you catch 3, 4 or 5 chain stitches into a circle. Make the number of chain you need. Push the hook under 2 threads of the last stitch you made. Apart from the chain stitches, yarn round hook and draw the yarn through all the loops on your hook. Your picot is complete. Now continue with the basic stitch to the place for the next picot. Rounds, motifs, mats and other articles can be made by working in rounds. Make a length of 7 chain stitches. Join them by making a slip stitch into the first chain made. Do this by pushing the hook through the first chain. Yarn over hook and pull through both loops. Now, put the hook through the middle of the ring. Yarn over hook and pull it through. Yarn over hook again and pull it through both loops on the hook. You made the first double crochet on the ring. Make 13 more double crochet onto the ring. Place a safety pin or stitch marker into the last double crochet of the latest row. Join the last double crochet to the first with a slip stitch. On the next round, work a double crochet into each double crochet, working twice into every alternate double crochet. At the end of the round, join with a slip stitch. Carry on like this until your circle is the size you need. Cluster. Step 1. You make a cluster by working 2, 3 or more trebles or double trebles into the same stitch. Yarn over hook and push the hook under the top 2 threads of the correct stitch in the chain. Step 2. Yarn over hook and pull it through the chain 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops on the hook. Step 3. Yarn over hook again and push the hook through the same stitch of the chain. Repeat the steps. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Work 1 more treble or double treble into the same stitch. Finally, yarn over hook and pull it through the 4 loops now on the hook. You have made a cluster. Increasing and decreasing. To increase is to make an extra stitch. Do this at the place you want the increase to be by working twice into one of the stitches. To increase at the beginning of a row, work into the first stitch instead of missing it as you would normally do. Increase at the end of a row by working twice into the last stitch. The simplest way to decrease is to miss out a stitch and continue working along the row. This method can leave a hole and a good way of decreasing when working with trebles, which is as follows. Step 1. Make a treble but do not complete it. Leave 2 loops on the hook. Now start to make a treble into the next stitch. Yarn over hook through stitch. Yarn over hook. Pull through the yarn over hook, but pull the yarn through 3 loops instead of 2. Yarn over hook again and draw it through 2 loops, leaving 1 loop on the hook. You have decreased the number of stitches by 1. You can decrease when working with double crochet stitch in the same way. How to change color? Work in the new color for the forward and return pass. Pick up the old color in the last yarn over hook of the reverse pass to create a striped effect on the next row. A more interesting effect is to change color at the beginning of the reverse pass. To do this, work the whole forward pass in the old color, then pick up the new color in the chain stitch 1 at the beginning of the reverse pass. This will avoid a jog in the color stripes at this end of the row. Continue the reverse pass in the usual way to the end of the row. You can either switch back to the old color on the last yarn over hook of the reverse pass or continue in the new color for the following forward pass. You could change back to the old color at the start of the next reverse pass. This form of striped color work brings out the woven look of the fabric with the vertical strands of the forward pass clearly visible against the contrasting color of the reverse pass. How to change colors in rows? The basic technique of changing colors in crochet is the same whether you are working in rows or rounds, double or treble. You need to think ahead to where you want to change color, then change yarn just before. Make a small swatch and then practice the technique by following this step-by-step guide. You can use this method to change color in the middle of a row or round or at the end of a row to create all sorts of color effects. We have stated where to cut the yarn, but you might like to wait until you are sure it is right. You will find that changing color creates lots of yarn ends. You can weave this in afterwards or work in the next few stitches over them. Work on the final stitch before you want the color change, but stop before working the final yarn over hook. For double crochet, insert hook, yarn over hook, pull loop through and stop. Cut old yarn leaving a long tail. Loop your new yarn color around hook, leaving a long tail of the new yarn, and pull it through the remaining loops to finish the stitch. Pull the old and new yarn ends to tighten the loop on the hook. Step 1. Start working the final stitch in the row, but stop before you work the final yarn around hook. For treble crochet, you would work yarn over hook, insert hook, yarn over hook, pull loop through, yarn over hook, pull through first two loops, then stop. For half treble crochet, you would work yarn over hook, insert hook, yarn over hook, pull loop through, then stop. Cut the old yarn, leaving a long tail, about 7 centimeters long. Step 2. Now, loop your new yarn color around the hook, leaving a long tail of yarn, about 7 centimeters long. Step 3. Pull the new yarn loop through the remaining two loops to finish the stitch. Pull the old and new yarn ends to tighten the loop on the hook. Step 4. Now you can work the turning chain of the new row in the new color. 3 chain stitch for treble or 2 chain stitches for half treble. Then work the stitches of the new row in the new yarn color. How to change colors in rows if you are left-handed. Step 1. Start working the final stitch in the row, but stop before you work the final yarn round hook. For treble crochet, you would work yarn round hook, insert hook, yarn round hook, pull loop through, yarn round hook, pull through first two loops, then stop. For half treble crochet, you would work yarn round hook, insert hook, yarn round hook, pull loop through, then stop. Cut the old yarn, leaving a long tail, about 7 centimeters long. Step 2. Now loop your new yarn color around the hook, leaving a long tail of yarn, about 7 centimeters long. Step 3. Pull the new yarn loop through the remaining two loops to finish the stitch. Pull the old and new yarn ends to tighten the loop on the hook. Step 4. Now you can work the turning chain of the new row in the new color. 3 chain stitches for treble or 2 chain stitches for half treble. Then work the stitches of the new row in the new yarn color. Patterns. This simple crocheted hot pad folds in on itself to create a double thickness to protect hands from heat. Directions are given to make single crochet double hot pad. Materials and measurements. Materials: 4 ounce worsted weight yarn, crochet hook size G or size needed for gauge, Measurements: gauge 7 stitches equals to 2 inches. Chains 35. Single crochet in same space as last chain and in each chain across 2 single crochet in corner and then single crochet across other side of starting chain. Do not join rows. Continue to work around both sides of chain. Single crochet in each single crochet around picking up back loop only. Repeat until the hot pad becomes a double square. The hot pad will bow in on itself, making it double. End at edge of square. Chain 7 hanging loop. Attach chain to the first chain with slip stitch. Place edges together evenly and slip stitch along the opening. Crocheted House. This is a project for making fun crocheted house slippers. Directions are given for small size with medium and large sizes in parentheses. Materials and measurements. Materials. A double strand of 4-ply yarn is used throughout. For adult size, you will need 2 skeins of yarn. Crochet hook size I for small size and size J for medium and large size or any size that will match gauge. Measurements. Small woman's shoe size 5 to 6, length 9 inches, finished. Medium shoe size 7 to 8, length 9 3/4 inches, finished. Large shoe size 9 to 10, length 10 1/2 inches, finished. Row 1. Chain 1, single crochet in 5th chain from hook. Single crochet in each remaining chain across. Chain 4, turn. Chain 4 loops form the casing for the tie. Row 2. Working in back loop only, single crochet in each single crochet across. Chain 4, turn. Row 3 through 13. Repeat row 2. Do not chain 4 stitch ends of last row. Row 14 to 16. Work in back loop only. Double crochet in each single crochet across. Do not chain 3. Turn. Row 15 to 17. Make a loose back post for the first stitch. Double crochet around back post of each double crochet. Turn. Row 16 to 18. Make a loose front post for the first stitch. Double crochet around front post of each post stitch across. Turn. Row 17 to 19. Make a loose back post for the first stitch. Double crochet around back post of the each post stitch across. Turn. Row 18 to 20. Make a loose front post for the first stitch. Double crochet around front of each post stitch across. Turn. Row 19 to 21. Make a loose back post stitch for the first stitch. Double crochet around back of each post stitch across. Turn. Row 20 to 22. Skip first double crochet. Pull up a loop in next stitch. Skip next stitch. Pull up a loop in next. Again skip next stitch. Pull up a loop in next across. Yarn over and pull through all loops on hook. Pull tight. Chain 1 and fasten off. Sew ends of double crochet rows together. Sew heel edge together. Turn right side out. Tie. Leave 7 inches thread. Chain 110. Fasten off, leaving 7 inches thread. Thread through casings formed by chain 4 loops. Pom-poms. Make 2 small pom-poms and tie one to each end of ties. Basic crochet slippers. This is a project for making fun crocheted house slippers. Materials and measurements. Materials: 2 skeins worsted weight yarn, crochet hook size J small, K medium or N large. Measurements: gauge 6 stitches equals to 2 inches. Chain 59. Leave a long enough tail to sew the bottom seam. Instructions: Row 1. Single crochet in second chain from hook and in each chain across. Chain 1. Turn. Row 2. Working in the back loops. Single crochet in first 25 single crochet. Single crochet in both loops for 8 single crochet. Single crochet in back loops of the last 25 single crochet. Chain 1. Turn. Single crochet in back loops throughout except for the middle 8th stitch. Row 13 to 14. Repeat row 2. Tie off. Leave a long enough strand of yarn to sew up 15 stitches. With right sides together, sew the bottom seam and tie off. Sew the first 15 stitches of the top seam together and tie off. Attach a double strand of yarn at the toe opening, gather up, pull tight, knot closed and weave in ends. Cuff. Turn the slipper right side out. Attach yarn with a slip stitch to any single crochet. Row 1, chain 1, single crochet around. Join with a slip stitch, chain 1, turn. Rows 2 and 3. Working in back loop only, single crochet, join with slip stitch, chain 1, turn. At the end of row 3, join with slip stitch and tie off. Solid dishcloth. Cotton yarn is a good choice to use for a dishcloth. It is absorbent, stronger wet than dry, machine washable and can be bleached if needed. This pattern uses a cluster stitch that creates a texture in the cloth for scrubbing. Materials and measurements. Materials: Size 3 crochet thread. 1 ball of desired color for solid dishcloth or 1 ball each of 2 colored for striped dishcloth. Crochet hook 3.5 mm US E4. Measurements. Dishcloths measure 9.5 inches by 9 inches. Gauge 21 double crochet equals to 4 inches. Check your gauge. Use any size hook to obtain the specified gauge. Instructions. Special stitch. Cluster. Keeping last loop of each double crochet on hook, double crochet in next 3 stitches, yarn over and draw through all 4 loops on hook. Chain 48, row 1, wrong side. Single crochet in second chain from hook and in each remaining chain 47 single crochet. Chain 2 counts as first double crochet on following rows. Turn. Row 2, right side. Double crochet in each single crochet. Chain 4. Turn. Row 3 to 4. Chain over next 3 double crochet. Chain 2. Cluster over next 3 double crochet. Chain 2. Repeat, cluster over next 3 double crochet to turning chain. Double crochet in second chain of turning chain. Chain 2. Turn. Row 5. Single crochet in each double crochet to turning chain 2. Single crochet in second chain of turning chain. Chain 2, turn. Row 6. Double crochet in each single crochet. Chain 1, turn. Row 7. Repeat row 5. Row 8. Double crochet in each single crochet. Chain 4, turn. Repeat rows 3 to 8 3 times more. Repeat rows 3 to 6. At end of row 6, chain 1, turn. Border 3 single crochet, first single crochet for corner, single crochet in each single crochet to last single crochet in 3 single crochet in last single crochet for corner, single crochet along next edge in ends of rows to begin chain, working in unused loops of beginning chain, 3 single crochet in first loop for corner, single crochet in each loop to last loop, 3 single crochet in loop for corner, single crochet along next edge in ends of rows to first single crochet. Join with slip stitch in first single crochet. Fasten off. Striped dishcloth. Cotton yarn is a good choice to use for a dishcloth. It is absorbent, stronger wet than dry, machine washable, and can be bleached if needed. This pattern uses a cluster stitch that creates a texture in the cloth for scrubbing and teaches how to change yarn colors in a project. Materials and measurements. Materials. Size 3 crochet thread. 1 ball of desired color for solid dishcloth or 1 ball each of 2 colors for striped dishcloth. Crochet hook 3.5 mm US E4. Measurements. Dishcloths measure 9.5 inches by 9 inches. Gauge 21 double crochet equals to 4 inches. Check your gauge. Use any size hook to obtain the specified gauge. Special stitch. Cluster. Keeping last loop of each double crochet on hook, double crochet in next 3 stitches. Yarn over and draw through all 4 loops on hook. Instructions. With color A, chain 48. Row 1, wrong side. Single crochet in second chain from hook and in each remaining chain 47 single crochet. Chain 2 counts as first double crochet on following rows. Turn. Row 2, right side. Double crochet in each single crochet, changing to color B in last single crochet. Chain 4, turn, cut color A. Row 3, cluster over next 3 double crochet. Chain 2, cluster over next 3 double crochet. Chain 2, chain 2. Repeat, cluster over next 3 double crochet. Chain 2, chain 2 to turning chain. Double crochet in second chain of turning chain. Chain 2, turn. Row 4, 3 double crochet in top of next cluster. Repeat once more to last stitch. Skip next 2 chains of chain 4. Double crochet in next chain, changing to color A in last double crochet. Chain 1, turn, cut color B. Row 5, single crochet in each double crochet to turning chain 2, single crochet in second chain of turning chain, chain 2, turn. Row 6, double crochet in each single crochet, chain 1, turn. Row 7, repeat row 5. Row 8, double crochet in each single crochet, changing to color B in last double crochet, chain 4, turn, cut color A. Repeat rows 3 to 8 3 more times. Repeat rows 3 to 6 at end of row 6, chain 1, turn. Border 3 single crochet, first single crochet for corner, single crochet in each single crochet to last single crochet, 3 single crochet in last single crochet for corner, single crochet along next edge in ends of rows to begin chain, working in unused loops of beginning chain, 3 single crochet in first loop for corner, single crochet in each loop to last loop, 3 single crochet in loop for corner, single crochet along next edge in ends of rows to first single crochet, join with slip stitch in first single crochet, fasten off. First hat. Create a fast and easy vertical striped hat. Materials and measurements. Materials. Medium weight yarn, 1 skein of desired color, crochet hook 6 mm US J10, extras yarn needle. Measurements: Hat measurements 17 and 3/4 inches in circumference. Hat will stretch to accommodate larger head sizes. Gauge 17 stitches equals to 4 inches. 14 rows equals to 4 inches. Check your gauge. Use any size hook to obtain the specified gauge. Instructions. Chain 50. Row 1, right side. Single crochet in second chain from hook. Chain 1, skip next chain. Single crochet in next chain. Repeat chain 1, skip next chain, single crochet in next chain 24 times. Turn 25 single crochet, 24 chain, 1 space. Row 2, chain 1, single crochet in first single crochet, single crochet in next chain, 1 space. Chain 1, skip next single crochet, single crochet in next chain, 1 space. Repeat, chain 1, skip next single crochet, single crochet in next chain, 1 space across to last single crochet, single crochet in last single crochet. Turn. Row 3, chain 1, single crochet in first single crochet, chain 1, skip next single crochet, single crochet in next chain, 1 space. Repeat chain 1, skip next single crochet, single crochet in next chain, 1 space across to last 2 single crochets. Chain 1, skip next single crochet, single crochet in last single crochet, turn. Rows 4 to 61. Repeats rows 2 and 3. Row 62. Fold piece in half, matching row 61 to opposite side of foundation chain. Chain 1, working through both thicknesses at same time. Slip stitch in each single crochet and in each chain, 1 space across, fasten off. Finishing. With yarn needle, weave a 10-inch length of yarn through ends of rows at top of hat and pull tight. Sew opening closed. Turn hat right side out and turn up edge of cuff. Optional. Make a pom-pom and attach it to the top. Hook for loop. Fasten off. Easy scarf. Create a warm, thick textured scarf using a double and single crochet stitch. Materials and measurements. Materials. Medium weight yarn, 2 skeins of desired color. Crochet hook, 6 mm, US J10. Extras, yarn needle. Measurements. Gauge, 12 stitches equals to 4 inches. 12 rows equals to 4 inches. Check your gauge. Use any size hook to obtain the specified gauge. Instructions. Chain 21. Row 1. Single crochet in second chain from hook. Double crochet in next chain. Single crochet in next chain. Across the row, double crochet in last chain, turn, 10 single crochet, 10 double crochet. Row 2, chain 1, single crochet in first stitch, double crochet in next stitch, single crochet in next stitch across the row, double crochet in last stitch, turn. Rows 3 to 144. Repeat row 2. Fasten off. Mittens. Crochet mittens are heavy and warm. Learn how to pick up stitches at the end of each row. You will also learn how to decrease your stitches to create a rounded top. Materials and measurements. Materials. Child's version. 1 skein soft navy and shaded dusk. Woman's version. 1 skein each tea leaf and soft navy. Men's version. 1 skein tea leaf. Crochet hook 5.5 mm US I9. Stitch markers. Yarn needle. Measurements. Gauge 16 single crochet equals to 4 inches. 17 row equals to 4 inches. Instructions. Directions are for child size 4 to 5 years. Changes for sizes in women's and men's are in parentheses. Child size measures 6 inches around by 7.5 long. Woman's size measures 7.5 inches around by 11.5 inches long. Men's size measures 9.5 inches around by 12 inches long. Cuff using colors C, B or A. Chain 15, 21 or 24. Row 1. Working in back loops only. Single crochet in second chain from hook and each chain across. Chain 1, turn. Repeat row 1 for a total of 18, 22 or 24 rows. Fold cuff in half and join ends with slip stitch to form cuff. Do not fasten off. Hand. Round 1. Working along row ends on cuff, slip stitch evenly around for 18, 22 or 26 stitches, joined around with slip stitch. Round 2. Chain 1, place marker, single crochet in next 8, 10 or 12 stitches, 2 single crochet in next stitch twice. Join with slip stitch 20, 24 or 28 stitches. Round 3. Chain 1. Single crochet in next 9, 11 or 13 stitches. 2 single crochet in next stitch twice. Join with slip stitch 22, 26 or 30 stitches. Round 4. Chain 1. Single crochet in next 10, 12, 14 stitches. 2 single crochet in next stitch twice. Join with slip stitch 24, 28 or 32 stitches. Child size. Proceed to next step. Woman's size. Chain 1, single crochet in next 13 stitches, 2 single crochet in next stitch twice. Join with slip stitch 30 stitches. Men's size, chain 1, single crochet in next 15 stitches, 2 single crochet in next stitch twice. Join with slip stitch 34 stitches. Repeat as established, working one more single crochet before increasing each round for 2 more rounds, 38 stitches. Next step, continuing with stripe or solid pattern as said, chain 1, single crochet in each single crochet around, join with slip stitch. Repeat for a total of 3 rounds. Thumb opening. Next round. Chain 1. Single crochet in next 20, 26 or 32 stitches. Chain 4, 5 or 6. Skip remaining stitches and join with slip stitches to first stitch. Upper hand. Single crochet in each stitch around for 8, 10 or 12 rounds, 24, 31 or 38 stitches, decreasing 1 stitch on last round for women's size only, 24, 30 or 38 stitches. Round 1. Single crochet 10, 13 or 17 single crochet together twice, 22, 28 or 36 stitches. Round 2. Single crochet 9, 12 or 16 single crochet together twice, 20, 26 or 34 stitches. Round 3. Single crochet 8, 11 or 15 single crochet together twice, 18, 24 or 32 stitches. Round 4. Single crochet 7, 10 or 14 single crochet together twice, 16, 22 or 30 stitches. Child size only. Single crochet together around 8 stitches. Fasten off. Continue with thumb. Round 5. Single crochet in each stitch around. Round 6. Single crochet 9 or 13 single crochet together twice, 20 or 28 stitches. Next 2 rounds. Single crochet together around 5 or 7 stitches. Fasten off at end of last round. Thumb. Round 1. Join yarn to thumb opening at stitch closest to upper hand. Chain 1. Single crochet in each stitch around, joining with slip stitch 8, 9 or 12 stitches. Single crochet in each stitch around for 4, 7 or 8 rounds. Next round. Single crochet together, single crochet to 3 stitches from last stitch. Single crochet last 2 stitches together, 6, 7 or 10 stitches. Single crochet together around, working last stitch as single crochet on women's size 3, 4 or 5 stitches. Fasten off. Weave in ends. Bassinet or purse for 6-inch baby doll. This little purse makes a great gift. The top of the purse folds down to make the skirt for the bassinet. The little bassinet holds a 6-inch baby doll. Materials and measurements. Materials: approximately 3 ounces of main color worsted weight yarn, approximately 2 ounces of contrasting worsted weight yarn, crochet hook size G or size needed for gauge 6-inch baby doll. Scissors: cardboard 1.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Measurements: note, beginning chain counts as first stitch. Gauge: 7 stitches equals to 2 inches. Instructions: bottom of bassinet with main color chain 20. Round 1. Double crochet in third chain from hook and in next 16 chain, 4 double crochet in next chain. Working on other side of chain, double crochet in next 16 chain, 3 double crochet in same place as first double crochet. Join with slip stitch, double crochet 40. Round 2. Chain 2, 2 double crochet in same space and double crochet in next 16 double crochet. 2 double crochet in next 4 double crochets. Double crochet in next 16 double crochet. 2 double crochet in next 3 double crochet. Join with slip stitch, 48 double crochet. Sides: round 3 to 7. Chain 2. Double crochet in each double crochet around, 48 double crochet. Skirt: round 8. Chain 2. Double crochet in same space and 2 double crochet in each double crochet around, 96 double crochet. Join with slip stitch. Fasten off. Round 9. Attach contrasting color. Chain 7. 4 treble crochet in every 4th double crochet. Chain 3 4 treble crochets around. 3 treble crochet in same space as chain 7. Join the 4th chain of the starting chain, 24 shells. Round 10. Chain 4. 3 treble in chain 2 space. Chain 3. 4 treble in each chain 2 space. Chain 3 around. Join with slip stitch in 4th stitch of chain 4. Round 11. Chain 1. Single crochet in each treble. 3 single crochet in chain 3 space. Single crochet in each treble. 3 single crochet in chain 3 space around. Join with slip stitch. Fasten off. Weave in ends. Turn bassinet inside out. Fold back between 7th and 8th row of double crochet. Join contrasting yarn and single crochet in each space around. Join with slip stitch. Fasten off. Weave in ends. Drawstrings. Make 2. Chain 100 and finish off. Make 2 chains for ties. Weave through second row of shells from opposite sides. Tie with a square knot to join. Finish with a pom-pom. Pom-pom. Cut 4 inches pieces of yarn. Place across cardboard lengthwise. Wrap yarn around cardboard until desired fullness for pom-pom is achieved. Tie a square knot to hold together. Cut across opposite ends. Tighten knot. Trim. Tie on each end of chain tie. Baby blanket. This is an easy, soft and lacy blanket for a new baby. It uses only 2 different stitches, the single crochet and the chain. You will be using a larger hook that makes the blanket stitch up in a hurry. Materials and measurements. Materials: 1 large skein of baby soft yarn. Crochet hook US M. Measurements: gauge 2 stitches to an inch and 3 rows to an inch. Instructions: row 1, chain 91 stitches. Row 2, single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Single crochet in each stitch across. Chain 1 and turn. Row 3, 90 single crochet in each stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Work until the desired length is achieved. Edge. Row 91. Single crochet in first 2 stitches, single crochet in the third stitch. Chain 3 and single crochet in the same stitch. Repeat the pattern all the way around outside edge of the blanket. This creates a little picot edge. Slip stitch the last stitch to the first stitch. Weave the yarn ends in. Crochet felted bag. This fun felted purse introduces the skill of felting. You crochet the purse and then felt it to make it more sturdy and solid. Materials and measurements. Materials: 1 ball of color A, 1 ball of color B, size K, 10.5 crochet hook, large-eyed blunt needle. Measurements: about 8 inches by 7.5 inches by 2 inches after felting. Gauge: 12 stitches plus 15 rows equals to 4 inches before felting in single crochet. Be sure to check your gauge. Instructions: base with color A, chain 31. Row 1, single crochet in second chain from hook and in each chain across 30 single crochet. Rows 2 to 9. Chain 1, turn. Single crochet in each single crochet across. Work 8 single crochet evenly spaced across short side of piece. Work 30 single crochet along opposite side of beginning chain. Work 8 single crochet evenly spaced across remaining short side of piece. 76 single crochet around base. Sides: single crochet in each single crochet around until back measures 5.5 inches from base. Fasten off color A and join color B. With color B, Continue in single crochet around until bag measures 10 inches from base. Fasten off. Weave in ends. Felting. Wash by hand or by machine on a hot wash or cold rinse cycle with detergent and several pieces of clothing to agitate. To felt additionally, dry by machine on regular settings until almost dry. Remove from dryer. You may also let it dry in the sun and pull the piece into shape after drying. Crocheted edge patterns. These crocheted edges are used for pillowcases, baby blankets, burp cloths, or any other edge that needs embellishments. Each edge creates a different design and finish for your products. Heavy ruff. Row 1. 2 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 3. This counts as first double crochet. Double crochet in the same stitch. 2 double crochet in each space. Repeat around. Expect a lot of rippling. Slip stitch to join. Row 3. Chain 2. 1 single crochet in each space. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. For variety, it looks good if row 1 and 3 are the same color and row 2 is a different color. Basic Picot. Row 1. Single crochet in the first and second holes. 1 single crochet in the third hole, then chain 3. Slip stitch on the top of the same single crochet you are working on. This makes the picot. Then single crochet in the same hole, single crochet in the next 2 holes. Repeat this process. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. Triangles and arches. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 5. This is 1 double crochet and 2 chain. Double crochet in the same stitch. Skip 2 stitches and double crochet in the third stitch. Chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch. Again double crochet in the third stitch. Chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch. Slip stitch to join. This makes a row of triangles, every other one inverted. Row 3. 3 double crochet in the upper flat part of the first inverted triangle, then 1 single crochet in the point of the second upright triangle. Again 3 double crochet in the upper flat part of the first inverted triangle, then 1 single crochet in the point of the second upright triangle. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. Laces and waves. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 5. This is 1 double crochet and 2 chain. Double crochet in the same stitch. Skip 2 stitches and double crochet in the third stitch. Chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch. Repeat again, double crochet in the third stitch, chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch, slip stitch to join. This makes a row of triangles, every other one inverted. Row 3. You will only be working in the upper flat part of the triangles. First upper triangle, 1 single crochet. Second upper triangle, 4 double crochet. Third upper triangle, 5 trebles. Fourth upper triangle, 4 double crochet. Repeat this. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. Simple edge. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 2. 1 single crochet in each stitch. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. Basic shell. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 2. 1 single crochet in each stitch. Slip stitch to join. Row 3. Chain 2. 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Skip 2 stitches. 6 double crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. Repeat again 6 double crochets in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. Fence post. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 2. 1 single crochet in each stitch. Slip stitch to join. Row 3. Chain 2. 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Skip 2 stitches. 6 double crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. Repeat again 6 double crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. Basic ruffle. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 3. Count as the first double crochet. Double crochet in same stitch. 2 double crochet in each stitch around. Slip stitch to join. Row 3. Chain 2, then 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Slip stitch to join. Finish off. 2 tone loops. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole. Slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 8. Single crochet in the fourth stitch. Repeat again. Chain 8. Single crochet in the fourth stitch all the way around. You may need to adjust at the end. Finish off. Row 3. With your other color, single crochet in the middle stitch of the 3 stitches between the loops from the second row. Chain 8. Single crochet in the middle stitch, alternating front and back over the loops of the second row. This makes a twisted loop and also helps to hold up the loops evenly. Repeat again, chain 8, single crochet in the middle stitch, alternating front and back over the loops of the second row around. Finish off. Amanda's Pride. Row 1. 1 single crochet in each hole, slip stitch to join. Row 2. Chain 6, skip 4 stitches and single crochet in the 5th. Repeat again, chain 6, skip 4 stitches and single crochet in the 5th around. Finish off. Hugs and Kisses. Row 1. Slip stitch in the first hole, chain 3. Single crochet in the hole to the right of the one you slip stitched in. Skip over the hole as you slip stitch in and also skip the next hole. Single crochet in the next hole. You should be moving left. Chain 3, single crochet in the skipped hole to the right. Moving left, skip the single crochet and the next hole. Single crochet in the next hole. Repeat, chain 3, single crochet in the skipped hole to the right around. Finish off. Pom-poms. Pom-poms are fun to make and are used in finishing of a project. Use leftover yarn from the project to match. Some have used this method of making pom-poms using cardboard from a cereal box. Materials: 4 rounds 4-ply worsted weight yarn of 2 colors, lightweight cardboard from a cereal box, paper scissors and shears. Instructions. Step 1. Cut 2 2-inch circles out of lightweight cardboard boxes. Cut a 1/2-inch opening and then cut a 3/4 circle out of the center of each. This will look like a C. Step 2. Place 2 12 inches lengths of yarn between cardboard. Step 3. Wrap yarn around cardboard starting at one end of opening and wrapping evenly to the other side and continue back and forth until the pom-pom is of desired thickness or density. Step 4. Tie 12 inches length of yarn once to hold wrapped yarn together. With shears, cut yarn between cardboard all the way around. Step 5. Tie 12 inches length of yarn tightly with a square knot to hold cut yarn firmly. Step 6. Trim pom-pom evenly and to desired size. The pom-pom is ready to be added to the project. Tunisian Crochet. Tunisian Crochet. Tunisian crochet combines the best of knitting and crochet. It's got a hook-like crochet, but it also keeps several stitches on the hook like knitting. You can achieve many different stitches and effects and even combine it with regular crochet. To make room for all those stitches, Most Tunisian crochet is done with a special long hook or a small hook on a cable. If you would like to try the technique with just a few stitches, you can use a standard crochet hook with a straight shaft. The key difference with Tunisian crochet is that one row is made up of two parts, a forward pass where you pick up the stitches onto the hook and a reverse pass where you work them off the hook again. This means there's usually no need to turn your work. Keep the right side facing you. Patterns usually write the two passes as one row, but they can be written in different ways, so always check before you start. Rows of traditional Tunisian crochet have a woven look on the right side and a wavy looking wrong side. The fabric is quite dense, which makes it great for warm garments and blankets. Once you know the basics, you can work all sorts of different Tunisian stitches and achieve a variety of color effects. Stripes are the simplest, but there are many more possibilities. Just like when you are working regular crochet, you need to work a foundation chain first. In Tunisian crochet, you also need to work a whole foundation row made up of a forward and return pass. This foundation row nearly always remains the same regardless of the type of Tunisian stitch you are using. Work the foundation chain and foundation row forward pass as follows. Step 1. Make a chain of the same length as the number of stitches you want to work. For a practice swatch, chain 15. Keep the tension loose, but not so loose that it distorts the edge of your fabric. To begin the forward pass of your foundation row, insert the hook into the second chain from the hook. Step 2. Then yarn round hook and pull the yarn through the chain onto the hook. Step 3. You will now have 2 loops on your hook. Repeat the same action from step 1 of inserting the hook into the second chain from the hook for the next chain along. Continue working in the same way for each chain, putting 1 stitch onto the hook for each chain until you have worked into the last chain. Do not work into the slip knot at the end. Step 4. When you have finished the forward pass, you should have 1 loop on the hook for each chain you started with. With a chain of 15, there should be 15 loops on the hook. To complete your foundation row, you now need to work the return pass, which works the loops back of the hook. This return pass is also used as the return part of the row for many basic Tunisian stitches, and you will see it referred to as the standard or basic return pass. You will have your stitches on the hook with the right side of the work facing you. Do not turn. You will be working back along the row from left to right. How to work the return pass? Step 1. Yarn round hook and pull the hook through the first loop on the hook only. Step 2. In patterns, this is sometimes called chain 1 because the action is exactly the same as making 1 chain stitch. Step 3. Yarn round hook and draw the yarn through the next 2 loops on the hook. Step 4. Repeat the process from step 3 of yarn round hook and draw the yarn through the next 2 loops on the hook across the row, working yarn round hook, and pull through 2 loops at a time until there is 1 loop remaining on the hook. You will have completed the return pass, and the loop left on your hook will make the first stitch of the next row. Simple Tunisian stitches. After working the foundation row, forward and return pass, you can choose which Tunisian stitches to work next. We will show you how to work the basic Tunisian simple stitch. With the right side of the work facing you, identify the vertical strands of yarn that were created in the forward pass of the foundation row. Skip the strand on the outside edge of the work and insert the hook from right to left underneath the next vertical strand. Step 2. Yarn round hook and draw the yarn through the vertical strand of yarn. You will now have 2 loops on the hook. Step 3. Repeat the process from step 1 of inserting the hook from right to left underneath the next vertical strand. Yarn round hook and draw through in the same way. Keep going until you have worked into all the strands across the row, except for the last strand on the outside edge of the work. Up to this point, you have been inserting the hook into the front of the vertical loops that were created on the previous row. But there is also a corresponding strand at the back for each loop. For the last stitch of the row, insert your hook underneath the front and back of the loop on the outside edge so that there are 2 strands on the hook. Step 4. Yarn round hook and pull through as before. This creates a firm edge which mirrors the appearance of the edge on the other side. With the forward pass complete, you can work the standard return pass as explained earlier without turning the work. Finishing of Tunisian crochet. Step 1. Your work should now look like this after 1 foundation row and 1 row of Tunisian simple stitch of forward and return pass. Step 2. Work in Tunisian simple stitch for as many rows as you need to create your fabric. Step 3. When you want to finish your work, complete the return pass of the final row. You could just fasten off at this point or create a neater edge with a final forward pass of slip stitches. To do this, insert your hook underneath the next vertical strand, skipping the one on the outside edge as before. Ideas to get a flatter fabric in Tunisian crochet. You may have noticed that Tunisian fabric tends to curl more than regular crochet. Here are a few ideas to get a flatter fabric. 1. You may use a hook larger than you usually would have for the yarns you are using, such as 5 mm instead of 4 mm for DK weight yarn. 2. Work into the back bumps of the foundation chain to help the foundation row to lie flatter. 3. It is a good idea to tighten up the first stitch of the forward pass because the tension tends to be looser on that side of the row. 4. A firm wet blocking where your yarn allows will help to smooth out the fabric. 5. Work an edging of double crochet stitches all the way around your finished fabric to help stabilize it and make it lie flat. Irish crochet. Unlike most forms of crochet worked in either rounds or rows, traditional Irish crochet is made up of motifs that are joined with mesh stitches forming lace. While some crocheters seek to preserve this technique, others take alternative routes, making items purely from motifs or hooking the mesh background first and attaching the motifs with applique for speedier freedom style makes. Irish crochet lace was developed in Ireland in the mid-1800s during the potato famine. The income that their sales provided was a lifeline for many families at this time. Crocheting was a simpler way to make lace and the techniques were easy to learn. The motifs usually take the form of solid ribbons, leaves, shamrocks and flowers. The Irish rose is the most recognizable design. Some motifs were made around a cord for a bulkier look. Traditionally, the lace was worked in one color using 3 different weights of fine thread in either cotton, linen or silk. The finer the threads were used, the more delicate was the lace. Thicker threads would be used for the motifs and the finest threads would be used to form the mesh. The mesh could be embellished with picots or tiny clone knots. Originally, this form of lace was used to make collars, trims and gowns. Due to its more freedom of construction, Irish crochet can in fact be used to almost make anything from bags and jewelry to tops, dresses and shawls. It is a really great way of working to make unique designs. Thank you.